Yeah, I'm the middle child of 8. Me and my oldest brother don't share the same father. I got a father with my sister Sade and whatnot, but well, I'm the fourth of 8. We grew up on 6 Mile. I was born on Jane between Dickerson and Grover. I think. Oh man, I hope I'm pronouncing that. I hope I said that right. But I was born on Jane. You know, we was just raised like any other black kid around this motherfucker. We weren't really any different. And that's when I was telling you how these blacks really radicalized me and let me know that we were always actually communists and moving like socialists and whatnot. Because growing up in these blocks, you know, at first it was, you know, a mother and a father in the home, and sometimes a mother can just make it off of one check, 1 or 2 checks and whatnot. But it started to get harder on people. We started seeing people disappear or going to the military, the army, or prison system, and it just never come back the same.
So the block kind of thinned out. What'd your mom do for a living to make ends meet?
Fast food. She was into a lot of fast food restaurants. She worked at Wendy's for like 20 years.
And you could survive on that, or more or less.
Yeah, back then, but that's not no.
What about your dad?
He's at where he needs to be. He's in prison, and he's gonna stay there for a very long time.
You mind me asking what he did?
Rape.
Sorry. Yeah. Were you guys close or not?
Nah, he had got out. He had did 14 years, and when he got out, we tried to get cool and whatnot, but he was still a teen in the mind. You know, I was 17, 18. He was 17, 18. So we really didn't get along like that. He did teach me how to drive, but other than that, you know, we really didn't get along. We actually fought hand to hand because it was just about that time. You know, too much testosterone built up. I already don't know you. You know, and I'm paying bills in the house. You coming out, you think you running shit.
So he wasn't with you when you were growing. You didn't see him a lot because of the 14 years. You had no like real that kind of relationship.
No, like I used to write it when I was younger, but once I got like 7 years old, I was like, he's not coming out, so let me just move on with my life.
You're the middle child. Are you the oldest brother?
No, I'm the middle brother. Like it's the oldest is my brother Raymond, and it's me, and then it's my little brother Derek. But in between that, we got my sisters Sade, Quarter, Victoria, Sade, Cliche, and Lorraine.
Your oldest brother, like, okay, so without your dad and you growing up in jail, would you say your older brother was like a father figure? You just hadn't known him, just had.
I mean, he was. He was more of a brother role. You know, he's 7 years older than me, so you know, by the time we was growing up, he was moving on out and doing certain things like getting into females and whatnot. So by the time I even got to his age, he was already getting ready to go. So, but he was always there. He protected us, whatnot. You can always call him. You know, he might seem like an asshole, but he's really giving. You know, for somebody that you just think that you can approach, because he's just some tall black dude who don't say much. So you see him, you like, yeah, he's gonna kill me if I ask him for a fucking popsicle or something. But he's really giving. It really is.
You guys close?
Yeah.
Your whole family's still close?
Oh, yeah. You gotta stay close, because I'm not gonna say my whole family. I have a huge family. Most of us are close, especially in depending on your immediate family and whatnot. But we are close, considering that it's hundreds of us.
When we went to that house today, now that you've had time to process it, is there like impactful to go back to something that was so important to you to see it like eroded like that, or is it just like you're desensitized? Just like fuck it. I mean, truthfully, like outside the cameras, like did it really mean anything, or it's just like whatever?
The first time I seen it like that, the first time I went back to my neighborhood and I seen what it has become, you know, it was heartbreak. But then I have to understand that this was the future that they had planned out for us. So I can't, you know what I'm saying? What the Gohan say to sell team for a start? You don't be afraid of the inedible. Like this is gonna happen. Don't be mad. It's gonna happen. You know. And what can we do to combat it? This where you know I started to really focus my anger to try to combat these things. Even if I couldn't, the best thing that I did do was wake up and put eyes on what's really going on and who's really controlling our neighborhood, who's actually holding back finances from us and opportunities from our children.
When you've talked about, if you don't mind elaborating, you've said pretty openly, like, overthrow the government, their targets. Do you mean literally like their targets, or are you saying like target them in ways where you can like show up at their house and protest, or you talking about target them, target them?
I explained this a couple of times that there is no wrong way of protesting. Everybody has a fight in a revolution, right? But I believe these protests and these riots are being used in the wrong form. The only reason why we should protest and strike is to pull out certain targets that we're trying to get, like the mayor or city council members, et cetera, because if this mayor fuck up more than one time and we lose people because of how lenient they is for the police department or whatnot, then they have to go. You know, so it's our life or theirs, and we can't play around with it like they are not sitting here plotting our destruction. We have to stay alert about this. I really mean overthrowing. I mean, whatever you want to take it, guillotine or bullets, because one of us got to go, and I don't feel like it should be.
Where do you draw the line of who's going to get it and who is like you would spare them and allow them to be a part of this world you're rebuilding? Does anybody get spared who was a part of the old way? Like, remember, like, for instance, Castro, right? You rode up on the yacht over through Batista, and if you were living under Batista and were loving it and didn't speak up for the poor, they're gonna take your shit.
Yeah,
you didn't say anything. Is that how you feel? Like the people who've been sitting around silent, do they have a chance to? I guess, is there redemption for them, or is it your mark?
I wouldn't hold the people that's been silent accountable too much. I'm gonna put it in their faces like, you need to go grab a gun or a book and help us. But as far as the people who's gonna push against the proletariat or push against a revolution or question our motives, then you get the wall. Because why would you, like, even if we were plotting to target certain political figures and whatnot, what do you lose or gain by us killing these people?
If somebody heard some of the things that you said, is like, I'm sure you do get this, like, especially maybe someone from my neck of the woods, that sounds nuts. Like, how could you overthrow the government? How could you build an army like that? Like, maybe could you walk me through like how you would break that down to someone in an infantile mind that is even not that socially aware? Like, it'll tell you that's impossible.
I mean, we already got our army, and this is why I focus on the poor. I focus on the homeless, the people that have been drugged down, and they know that they want a better system. They just don't know what system is going to replace this one. So we have people that's already radicalized, military mindset and whatnot. They just need to actually know how to target their guns and target their anger. So you already have your army out here. The thing is, people are so afraid to actually talk to the people, so they try to play ring around the rosy and say, well, I'm going to flip some liberals. I'm going to go flip some conservatives. I'm going to talk to people that's already apolitical. I mean, I'm already talking to people who's political and not apolitical. And this is where they mess up at, because everybody think they are a part of a team. Everybody think that, if they vote and wait for something good is going to come their way. It never happened like that, and it never will. So as far as overthrowing the government, people always hit me with we have nukes and we have bombs and et cetera, et cetera. This is why you set up in strongholds. And that's why I'm using Tour for the Poor to travel around America and find, sniff out strongholds in America where I can set up shops, set up clinics, get a hold of the people, get a hold of their mind, so I can, so they will give me their body and go out front line for these things, because we have already lost our life. And once you put it in their heads, like, you lost your life more than once, and they will take your body this time if you let them. And they will be, more like, they will be more open to move with you in a militant way, because they know once you compare their life to what it was how it is now, they're going to look at it like, if we don't change it, nobody will.
If you instill a leader, what's to stop it from kind of just becoming what it once was? Who becomes the leader, and how do you know that they're not going to become another despot?
I'm glad you asked that, because this is why I pointed out yesterday that I will never have anybody around me that's afraid of me. Especially when we're growing into power, I have to be put into check, because just because I have great ideas don't mean I won't go rogue with power or money. So you have to have people around you that's not afraid of you. You got to have people around you. You got to make sure that power is checked at all times. And even if I do grow into power, and if I go rogue, that's I would want the proletarian to chop my head off publicly, to make an example to anybody else. Like, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to let you come in, learn our language, walk the way we walk, and use it all against us. I don't give a damn if you was here for this community, that community, what your name is, or your last name. You have to go, because we're trying to find a better way, and we can't get up with all, with people like this hoarding on to power, wealth, and just doing whatever they feel with this. When I'm building a care party right now, and I'm open with it. Like, I'm building a militia. And people like, I just got the number at the.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's that easy, because people want to overthrow America already. They just, we just have to get on the ground where the people are already at, where the people are already beat down and shot up, and just down on their luck. And if we can at least hand them stuff right now to where they can, just be well off for a minute. I'm not gonna. Like I said, I push propaganda overall. I'm an instigator. I push propaganda, and I'm just trying to spark, certain minds and whatnot. Because I'm not gonna lift you out of poverty. I'm not gonna buy you a house. I can't afford to do anything like that. But I can afford to spend some time to try to talk to you and make you realize that you are dead. You know what I'm saying? You are dead, and we shouldn't. As dead people, there is nothing to fear.
If you could sum up Rome's tour for the poor to just alien visiting from another planet, doesn't know who you are, like, how would you explain to them briefly what the tour for the poor is, what the goal is, and then compound thing, and I'm going to just let you go. Say you did get everything you wanted. What would that world look like? What are some of the platforms we'd be living under? But start with the first part. Like, what is the tour for the poor? Main goal, and what's the plan?
Tour for the poor is a propaganda train. That's all it really is. And I travel different communities. I try to I feed the people. So first of all, I walk around the neighborhood. I get to learn the language and the history, learn how they speak and what mannerisms and whatnot. That way, when I go and talk to them, I won't sound like a Detroiter. I sound like I moved here a while ago, and I learned their little nicknames for the streets and whatnot, whatever the fuck, their culture. And you use it against them. You use it in your propaganda speeches and whatnot. So as I was in Florida, and people was buying liquor and buying chips and candy and stuff like that. I was like, I'm buying all this stuff. It's like, all this stuff on me. It's like, you sure? It's like, yep. It's like, damn, why are you doing that? It's like,
but you're doing it.
Yeah. It sparks conversation.
It's using it against them, manipulating them, but into their own benefit, to wake them up, not to get something out of them. So it's like the opposite of.
Yeah. This is one of the only ways that Americans learn is propaganda. They have this fishbowl, I said fishbowl. I'm sorry. They have that fish mindset where it's so quick. Everything is TikTok, 60 seconds, 3 minutes. And, you know what I'm saying? You got to hit them with it right then and there. And it got to be a hot take. It got to be something where they are living up under. They can see, they feel or whatnot. So when I go out there and I talk about the times I have to live without lights and gas and water, that's very common. That's very common in America. It's way more common than what anybody will ever think. And once I break it down to how we supposed to actually get money, as citizens from our electric grid, how we supposed to actually have clean water for humans overall. And you're like, damn, I went with all these things that should have been free. If not, we should have been getting paid for actually funding these things and paying taxes into them. So fuck this. Something has to change. If it don't change, then and another thing of how all of this is gonna turn out, I don't know. Like I always point out, as revolutionaries, you will never see the fruits of your labor, but your voice will never die. You will never die because the fight lives on, and people always will teach and learn from your teachings. Marxists, Lenin, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, et cetera, et cetera. These are good examples of never dying in the revolution because you really lived it, and there is nothing that they can take away. Like they can try to manipulate your words, your message, and whatnot, but overall, you will never die, and people always will look back to you or look at you as an example of a leader or being strong, standing up, not taking any shit, and that's one thing you gotta learn how to take no shit. But as far as me pushing communism and how all of this is going to turn out, I'm hoping that it will turn into a communist world overall. I'm hoping that we do make deals with China, Russia, and we all come into another form of a union throughout the world. But I wouldn't live to see that. I won't even live to see. I won't even live to see through this revolution, especially with the things that I'm saying now, and I'm getting bigger and bigger. It just put a target on my back, and I know that my days are numbered.
When do you think you started to embrace the idea of death? So is that from a young age, or is that more when you started to take the revolutionary stuff? Like, where did that?
I always knew I can wake up and just die. You know what I'm saying? And that was like one thing I had to get out of my head of fearing death. That should be the last thing that you fear. The first thing you should fear is these motherfuckers gonna water down your message when you're gone. Is it gonna lead your people astray? Is your word strong enough to stay? Is your word really solidified in the stone? Death should be the last thing that you should be worried about because it's going to happen. And whether you are Malcolm or whether you are Martin Luther King, they have a bullet for all of you. Whether you're violent or non-violent, if you are fighting against the system, if you are exposing the war crimes, they will lock you in the prisons, Julian Assange. If you expose their war crimes, they lock you up and make you seem like you're crazy, like they did Daniel. Violent, non-violent, if you are a reporter, as long as you are against this system, they have a bullet for each and every last one of you.
Why do you think that the sort of white patriarch, the sort of slave masters that started this country, and we still have them today, why do you think that establishment specifically fears black people? Or do you think it's just any minority? Or like, what do you think it is that makes you at least feel that they have this intention to push this one group down? What do you think they're so afraid of?
They're afraid of revenge more than anything. And this is one thing. They're afraid of us teaching what actually goes on, and because a lot of these people are still alive. This hasn't been that long. My grandmother was a slave, in the fields down south, and my grandfather was brung over here. So this wasn't that long ago. And if we was actually teachers going on, you're gonna look over like, grandma, And it's one thing that they don't want to open. They don't want to open up the can of worms. But I can tell you right now, black people do not want revenge. If you want revenge, then white people will not be able to walk through the streets of Detroit just freely, or just move in here. Even though we bitch about gentrification, even though we complain about people taking over our neighborhoods, we never actually or physically hurt them, But the system, they fear people actually being educated, and it's one thing of these people being stronger than you, can build faster and shit like that. But if you give them the education, then they're going to use the tools that you gave them to build You know what I'm saying? Your houses, your yachts, and your guns, whatever, and they just gonna turn all this shit against you. And why not? We're not gonna put an end to racism. That's a hope train. We're not gonna put an end to crime. We're gonna control these things. We're gonna get people rehabilitation, and it's gonna be health care and clean water and just the basics. This is what communism is pushing people back to, the basics of human nature. And it's not going to be some overall fantasy land. We will have bad parts that we need to fix on that have been ran down by capitalists. It's going to take some cities and some areas generations to even get the money back to rebuild the infrastructure in these places and whatnot. But overall, we will set the people up with the basics: a roof over their head, drinkable water, the best education that we can give you, no matter where your neighborhood starts or stops.
What happens to the wealthy people in like a?
Oh, they're dead.
They're just getting
Yeah. I'll say, I'm not gonna say millionaires because those are low targets. You know what I'm saying? We have billion and trillionaires now. We have people controlling, our water. The CEO of Nestle, he has to die. It's a lot of people that really that deal with slave labor. And,
see, it may sound crazy to someone to be like, "Wow, he's talking about killing," but the guy Nestle, how many people has he killed?
Yes, and he don't even believe that he don't believe humans deserve drinkable water. So yeah, he can die.
and then all that wealth just gets divided up amongst.
Yes, we're gonna give back the land. We're gonna give back the money. We're gonna give back all we can. And this is so important. This is why I always mention intersectionality or saying land back and stuff like that, because we can't just rule over these people in their communities, right? We gotta give them back power. We gotta give them power in their communities so they can have government say so. They can have say so in their governments or in their towns or whatnot. We can't just say, okay, well, we're a communist nation and you own nothing. Like, okay, that's true. We own nothing. But the people of this land, you know what I'm saying, they deserve to at least prosper here. So we're gonna make sure the natives get what they need. Not only the Native Americans, the Latino natives, and it's a big group of people that people just tend to forget about, or just don't bring them up in a conversation at all. But yes, there will be land back. There will be redistribute. We will be pushing out their wealth from the Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, the oil tycoons that they don't want you to see. You know what I'm saying? All those evil people that really control these corporations that they don't want you to see. And like when I say revolution, I don't mean us going out with our guns. It would be fun. Go out with the guns, you shoot anybody you see moving. Okay. What have you accomplished? Besides shooting one of your neighbors or, all right then. So we target certain individuals. Certain individuals hold certain strongholds. They hold certain some money, they hold land, and once they are gone, that land either goes back to the banks or wherever, and then we start to follow the money straight down to where the power is held. So we don't just get out here and just say, oh, let's go burn down a bank. That's a branch. The bank was a branch of other banks. There's 100 more just like that, and you just actually gave them more money because of assurance. So if you want to stop the banks from making money, kill the bankers.